want to say. I'm gonna say. Durham.
Isn't Durham a county?
No.
Yeah, it's a cathedral city.
Yeah.
Dave.
Oh yes, okay.
It looks lovely as you come in on the train.
Right. Okay, so Saltburn 28.2, Durham 21.2. Well done, John.
Good guess.
Is Darlington north or south of Durham? I think it's north.
It's south.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's the next stop on the train.
See, I was thinking with Darlington, their local rivals in the football is Hartlepool.
It is.
But I thought that could be miles away, see. Because Swansea and Cardiff are 50 miles away,
I think Hartlepool would have done it for you.
Oh, you're joking.
My dad's from Darlington. Lovely part of the world.
Oh, part of the world.
Okay, Dave. 1-0 to John.
Right. Round 2. So John, you get to go first for round 2.
Yes, please.
Doncaster.
Huh. Similar part of the world. I'm gonna say. Ooh, am I gonna say that? I am. Pontefract.
Oh.
I think that's quite a good guess. I'm going to say Leeds.
Wait a minute, I gotta write my answers down.
Oh, Leeds.
Ellis went for Leeds.
Because I know there's lots of Leeds United fans in Donny, the Donny Whites.
Okay. Ellis, 33 miles.
I'm not good enough.
You're not good enough. This is your game.
I
This
know.
should be your game.
Please
John,
don't say
18 miles.
Oh, it's 2-0 rubbish.
Sugar.
I mean, in fairness,
My body.
I've been driving in that region quite
Yeah.
recently. Okay, Dave.
I like this game.
I love this game.
I like
Yeah.
this game. Even though I'm losing, I quite...
Well, you see, your knowledge of League One, Championship, and Premiership
well,
football
but
ground.
that's what I'm doing, so I'm getting within 30 miles.
I'm going to go home and play this game with Hannah tonight. Oh, lovely. Round 3, Al, you're first.
Yeah.
Sterling.
I'm bad. Oh my gosh. Motherwell.
Okay.
But I don't think that. I think that's rubbish. Actually, I think that's. Oh, I'm giving you clues. That was great.
Yeah, could be.
Sterling.
Could be.
I have to admit to not knowing where Sterling is, so I'm going to go Inverness.
I think I might be miles out here. My
I'm
Scottish,
rooting for you here, Al.
Are you doing this as the crow flies or route?
Roots.
my Scottish geography's.
I mean, it's not going to make a difference on this round, mate.
Okay.
So, L,
Oh.
29.6.
That's quite good.
Oh, John, 143. I got the wrong code too far north. You what? It's back in it. Round 4 of 5. Colchester.
Okay. Is that Ellis?
No,
that's me.
That's you.
Colchester. Oh.
I'm gonna have to help you, John.
No, you're not going to have to hope. You're losing now.
I am going
Upgrade
to
your
hurt you,
wardrobe
John.
and finally become the
I'm
person
gonna
you
go
believe
for-
yourself to
oh,
be.
this is not good
Stop by
enough.
the casino store and treat yourself.
I'm going to go for... No, I don't want to go for that.
I'll have to help you, John.
Okay, I'll hurry you if you don't care.
Well, I know what my answer is. You can't hear it.
Oh, we've added pressure there.
Okay, I'm going to go
Al's
for...
locked in.
I am totally locked in.
I'm going to go Chelmsford.
Oh, that was my answer there.
Okay, the networks are down.
Change the rules, really. Added drama.
Okay then, I'm gonna
Wait! Oh, so this needs to be as the crow flies if they're both close, Dave.
It's not as it's the car routes.
But that's not a distance, is it?
Ellis?
All right.
Romford.
You can tell on the map, surely, which is closer.
I can't see them on the map straight away, John.
Chelmsford was gonna be my answer.
Okay, so 24.6 for John,
Oh, no.
43.2 for
What would I
Ellis.
done at the time? What would Southend have been? Because they're rivals. But I think Southend's on the coast, so I thought it was going to be too far out.
Oh, it wouldn't have made any difference. That was 40 miles.
So it's an unassailable 3-1 lead for Robinson. I say it's a fantastic game.
Go for the final round?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
that's it. Ellis, you first. Can guess.
Pocklington.
No, God,
No.
I'm sorry, Alice. We have to take your first answer.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Oh dear. Oh,
No, Jesus, because it's not my real answer. It's
I say Keswick, please.
Oh, for God's sake,
Okay,
that's
so-
my answer.
Let me write down.
Oh, good, I was thinking about something else. I was thinking about a gig I did. I don't know, I was having an odd...
There's a lovely gig in Pocklington.
Yeah, it was a good fun show.
How far? What's it?
I'm miles out, and I know I am.
29.6.
Get in.
Alice, how far away do you think Pocklington is from Kendal?
100, over 100.
It is over 100 miles, 140 miles.
Wow, you're almost in the wrong country, mate. There are some countries. Stop just making white noise.
Sorry.
So, that
It
is...
came out by mistake. I was naming towns by mistake.
Oh, what a great made-up game there. Thank you so much. I am surprised I was so victorious because, you know, UK towns and cities is one of your major vibes.
It's just, I mean, that last one was unrepresentative. It was misleading. It just slipped out because I was thinking about something else.
I was
So,
thank you, Rob, for your made-up game called Places. And you can send in your made-up games to ellisandjohn@bbc.co.uk. But my treat for winning that made-up game, I get to play a song of my choice, and I'm playing Get It Together by the Go Team.
You're listening to Ellis James and John Robbins on BBC Radio 5 Live.
We've got a couple more of your good deeds gone wrong, and then I'm reliably informed that Mr. Ellis James has an anecdote.
Wow.
And he always likes it when I sort of ramp up as much pressure on the dote as possible.
We could start with it if you want.
Well, let's do a couple more of these, and then it can be the huge sort of crescendo of the show. It can be your great anecdote.
We should have saved the best till last. What if I run out of time?
Well, apparently you emailed Who's Who to say that after this anecdote you're going to need an entry, so fingers crossed. This is from Emma. She says, this is a good deeds gone wrong that we were talking about earlier in the show. She says, my friend voluntarily dog walks for a residential home. On her way out, she held open the door for a scruffy-looking chap, telling herself not to be judgmental. When she returned from the dog walk, there was a fleet of police and ambulances. Turned out the scruffy-looking chap had burgled several apartments, and one elderly resident had suffered a heart attack upon discovering the thief in his bedroom. Awful business.
A few years ago, my ex-partner and I hosted a baby shower for another couple. My partner did almost all of the planning, came up with all of the games and baked all of the homemade snacks, so I offered to decorate the house on the morning of the party as my last-minute contribution. For some reason, I decided to do this by inflating as many balloons as possible, practically filling the entire ground floor like some kind of mad balloon ball pool. When the couple arrived, I was informed that the father of the baby had a deathly phobia of balloons. For the next 20 minutes, he hid outside our house while brutally stamped on every single one.
I'm afraid if you've got a phobia of balloons and you're going to a children's party, that's got to be the headline.
Yeah, phone ahead.
Yes, you've got to warn people about that. You wouldn't go to a wedding and say you've got a phobia of white.
No. Or it's like if you're going to someone's house for dinner and you have allergies, you let them know. You can't eat nuts.
And if you come out to my house and you've got a phobia of cans, I'm sorry, you're not invited.
Right, let's do the anecdote.
Have we got a drum roll?
No.
This is anecdote.
I just did a really stupid thing on Sunday.
Okay.
You know when you...
Sad anecdote.
No, I just, I think I've forgotten how to talk to people. So we went, Izzy and I, the children went round to a friend's house. And we all got a bit giddy, and I was being really, because obviously I'm an edgy comedian, so I was being really hilarious and charming and edgy, and I was pushing the boundaries of real conversations. What's he going to say next? Anyways, we were all, sort of our friend and her teenage daughters, we were sitting in the kitchen having a coffee, and we were talking about the places you used to be able to smoke, okay? Because obviously years ago you could smoke on the bus, you could smoke in the office. Cinema, you could smoke on flights.
Pubs.
You could smoke on the tube.
I was on the last ever GWR train before the smoking ban. It was the day before, so at midnight, the train announcer said, you've got 2 hours left to smoke. And this guy came up and sat next to me on the smoking carriage. Do you remember the smoking carriage in trains?
It's crazy.
I'm not passing judgment.
Smoking on my school bus.
Yeah, well,
As in the ashtrays on the backs of the seats, not...
and this guy came up and he smoked an illegal cigarette, and I smoked a legal one, and we chatted. But they still have ashtrays in aeroplane toilets. Do you know why?
No.
Because if you were to smoke,
Yeah.
they would rather you put
Just
it
put it out
out
properly.
and then get fined, as opposed to putting it in the sort of bin full of towels and catch the plane alight. Fun fact.
Well...
So they still make new planes with ashtrays in.
Today, well, I was being a bit giddy because I'd spent a lot of Saturday on my own, and I was excited because I was seeing my friend, and we were talking about this. So I said, and my friend said, you could smoke in hospitals, which is crazy. And my Spanish friend, when she was born about 40 years ago, the consultant who delivered her, he had a cigar in his mouth as she was born. So I told that anecdote, and I think I'm blaming this on Adam Kay's fantastic book, This Is Gonna Hurt, which I just finished reading, as a kind of crazy, edgy joke. I said, well, in the 70s, gynecologists, they used to do smear tests, and they'd be smoking, and they'd blow smoke, and it was, they'd blow smoke up the, yes, and it played to pin drop silence.
Well, I'm sweating.
Yeah, and I
That's
thought...
not where I thought that was
No,
going.
exactly. But as I said it, it was like the world had stopped spinning. Everyone went quiet, and Izzy said, what has happened to you?
Nice.
And I thought, oh my God. I thought, I had forgotten how to talk.
Was it a joke or an observation?
It was a joke. Right. It was an edgy joke.
Does it sound like a joke?
No, it doesn't anymore, does it?
No.
But as soon as
Sounds a bit like, I'd say, vibe kill comes to mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
What are people meant to laugh at?
I don't know anymore, because I think, as soon as I said it, I thought, you've been having conversations for 35 years. What on earth happened there? And I don't think I've dropped a clanger like that for a long time. And I went hot, and I felt I was red, and I just couldn't conduct a conversation probably for about an hour afterwards. And I haven't really got over it, because I've lost all of my confidence.
Well, I'm sweating a bit, because you've told it on the radio now.
Yeah, but I asked David. Dave said it was fine.
Did you clear that anecdote, Dave?
Yeah, it was alright. I mean, no, it wasn't a good... I mean, it was
fine.
It was alright.
But it was just, it was an example, I think, of a joke gone horribly wrong. And it's state, come on, John, you're the king of this. Absolve me, you make bad jokes all the time. Well, not bad jokes, but you say the wrong thing.
Yeah, but I spend most of my time on my own now with my girlfriend.
Just telling bad jokes
because all my friends are too busy going to baby events where they're saying the wrong thing. And I don't get invited to the big swig-ups. What did you do at the party?
Oh no, we just went to the park and, well, I mean, everyone else went to the park and had a good time. I just stood next to a tree and I thought, what has happened to you? What has happened to you?
Did you have any cans at the park?
No, I didn't. I just had some tree time. Oh my gosh. But anyway, the further away from the event I get, the more the calmer I become, and now I'm beginning to think that actually it's probably not right.
We went to one of the great pubs in Leeds.
Oh yeah?
Whitelock's Ale House.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, Dave. Polished copper bar, polished copper tables, beautiful ceramic tiles under the bar, 10 ales.
But it's like drinking in the 18th century.
Yes, but with 2019 prices, actually. No, in fairness to them, probably 2016 London prices.
Oh, okay.
That's very reasonable. This is almost all from us, the film review coming up. I'm off on tour again today. I'm actually going to hot-foot it from here to Basingstoke, if you can imagine such a thing, Alice. Oh, I've hired a car park. Have you? No, a car space. A parking space. Oh my God, someone's in it. No, neither am I hiring a car park, nor has the gig gone so badly that I'm hosting in a car park. I've hired a parking space, which you can do now via an app, and I have to say it's very reasonable.
You're listening to Ellis James and John Robbins on BBC Radio 5 Live.
That was the show. Sorry for my harrowing anecdote at the end.
It's pretty bleak, man.
It was just a joke gone wrong. But it had actually been a while since I'd told a joke where I'd misread the room to such an extent, and it was that quite unfamiliar sinking feeling. Because I would say broadly my social skills aren't too bad, but that pin drop silence, you don't forget it.
It takes a lot to shut up John completely.
Oh, there, not that much. Well, the way I'm justifying that to myself is that I was aware that at 5 to 3 we'd entered John's nap prison, so I didn't think it was the anecdote. It was the fact that John's thinking about his show in Basingstoke. But anyway, that was the podcast. Thank you for downloading. We'll be back with you next week.
And is the next week's show slightly shorter, isn't it, Dave?
Yes, it's a week-long show next week.
A week-long show?
A week.
Oh, wow. We really will get to the bottom of our anecdote barrel.
We're here for a nap together, John.
Oh, that'd be great.
Napping on the radio.
It's an hour-long show, and I've relatively missed the first of 2 hours. So we are on air, and then we're on 1 till 2. It's pre-recorded. Do we need to say? I suppose we should say that, shouldn't we?
Well, me and Alice are going on a little trip
Romantic
together.
holiday.
Are we allowed to say where it is? Not sure.
We are going to a wedding in Italy.
Yes.
And yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be an absolute Legends Fest.
I cannot wait.
Yes, so it's just an hour-long show next week, which will be pre-recorded. Thank you for downloading this podcast. We'll be back with you next week. Goodbye.
You're listening to Ellis James and John Robbins on BBC Radio 5 Live.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcast.
2 years ago, a 27-year-old woman at a festival was the victim of upskirting. After discovering there was no law against it, she started a campaign to ban it. So we're asking, how can one woman change the law?
The Beyond Today podcast. One big question about one big story every day.
Listen now on BBC Sounds. BBC Sounds, music, radio, podcasts. BBC Sounds, music, radio, podcasts.
Welcome everyone to the podcast. It was a slightly different show this week, only an hour long, and it was pre-recorded. Alice and I are away en Italiano. Goodness me. Hoping someone else does the ordering. So we had a good email from Tom. This is a good deed's gone wrong. He says, I'm not one for offering favours. If people need help, I'll help, but in general, I avoid unnecessary interference. My wife, on the other hand, just loves offering other people my help, which always just ends up with me being lumbered with someone else's problem. We used to live down a pedestrian lane. You had to park at the top and walk about 100 metres to the row of houses at the end. One morning, my wife walked past some neighbours who were in the process of moving out. Walking past, they moaned about the fact they had to lug all their old furniture, sofa, desks, etc., up the lane to take to the tip. My wife, the lovely lady that she is, told them not to bother and just chuck it in our garden, because I would burn it for them. I got home to find the contents of a 3-bedroom student house on my lawn. I couldn't burn it, so I had to lug it up the lane to the tip myself. She's also given her sister our only sofa. She didn't have one, and then she did, and we didn't. Offered our neighbours our dining table and taken delivery of a 12-foot by 12-foot piece of fake grass because she didn't want to cause a scene.
That must have taken ages.
Yeah.
To get rid of all that stuff. Well, the Good Deeds Gone Wrong feature came out of me trying to help someone and getting it wrong. I don't mind a little bit of, helping out your neighbours in a neighbourly way every now and then. But you have to draw a line.
Well, we had one email, I can't remember if we read it out last week, but someone who agreed to sign for a package, and then the delivery man went away, and it was the door of a Mitsubishi showroom. Finally, last week's Shamewell was about someone attempting to shake hands with someone who it turned out not only didn't have a right arm, but didn't have a left arm, and they ended up doing sort of a Japanese bow or bringing both their hands together. Well, this is from Johanna, and she says, I thought I'd add to this week's Shamewell, if I may. I'm missing my right arm from birth, so I've experienced just about every uncomfortable handshake moment possible. One of the weirdest phenomena I experience is some people will inexplicably contort their right arm into a backwards shape in order to fit into my left. This happens regularly and still a complete mystery to me, and I can only assume it's also a side effect of momentary social panic. To the person who sent in the Shamewell, no guilt. This is a common occurrence and something the person you were greeting most likely had already anticipated before you approached. Your response to panic and bow, although it doesn't take away from the awkwardness of the situation, probably actually transferred the embarrassment away from the person you were greeting onto yourself. Not sure if that comforts you, but I'm willing to bet it de-escalated the situation for the person in question. Cheers again for the great show, Johanna. Thanks for emailing in about that, Johanna.
Yeah, thank you for extinguishing that person's guilt. That's a very important thing to do. As John said, we're in Italy, so it's only an hour-long show this week. But anyway, thank you very much for downloading. Hope you enjoy it. Here it comes. Bye-bye. BBC 5 Live.
Ellis James and John Robbins.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Ellis James and John Robbins on Radio 5 Live. Hope you enjoyed Japan versus Russia in the rugby. I'm going to say it was 1-0 to Japan. We don't know the outcome because this is a pre-recorded show today, a slightly shorter one, an hour long. Because Ellis and I, as we speak, will be in sunny Italy. Oh yes. We are going to a friend's wedding. What are we going to be doing right now, do you think, Ellis?
We will have arrived. We'll be on a minibus. It will be the airport transfer from the airport to where the wedding is happening.
Yeah.
And so I'm imagining cans, general marking around hijinks, horseplay,
Oh, this is a good point. Dave, what is Italian for cans? Can you find out?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to need that as soon as we get off the plane. I'm looking forward to complaining about the lack of Guinness or session ales.
What, at a wedding in Italy?
Yeah. Cans is Latine.
Oh, Latin.
Latine.
Will be a couple of Latines.
What's Italian for 24, Dave?
36. Keep them cold.
Come on, don't be reasonable. It's a wedding.
Yeah, good point. Good.
What's 24 is 24 Latine.
Lovely stuff.
Oh.
Are you concerned about wearing a suit in high heat?
I'm concerned about high heat.
Yeah.
To be honest, I rarely dress for the weather anyway, so I'm used to being sort of sweatier than usual. But I don't want to ruin it for everyone, but if there's no Guinness and it's too hot, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, what's your optimum temperature?
Well, I was chatting about this with my fiance the other day. I'm going to go about 18 degrees with light sun, but also a slightly chill breeze.
It's going to be hotter than that, I'm
I
afraid.
know.
Oh dear. So have you bought a linen suit?
No.
Like the man from Del Monte?
No, I haven't.
I'll tell you what I've done. In the lads' wedding WhatsApp group, there was a lot of discussion about buying linen suits for the wedding. Some of the heavy members of the party are doing it to avoid sweaty situations. Mm-hmm. I went to buy a suit yesterday because since I've stopped drinking as much, I've lost a bit of weight. So my previous wedding suit now makes me look like Tom Hanks in the final scene of Big. But they'd run out of linen suits at the shop I went to, and I only had about half an hour. So I'm wearing a suit that's going to make me too hot, but at least it will fit. So I've done 50% of what I said.
What colour is it?
Navy blue. Actually, very dark blue.
Okay. I'm just going to wear my suit.
Yes, that was my plan. That was my plan initially. And then to take the jacket off.
Yes.
I was just going to take a jacket to Italy to leave it in a hotel room. But I'm looking forward to it. I've only ever been to Italy once. We went to Venice.
We're on the heel of the booze.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to pasta. I'm looking forward to coffee. I'm looking forward to watching footballers remonstrate with referees. all of the Italian cliches. I cannot.
A lot of diving. But on after 8 p.m. we've been told strictly that there's no going in the pool after 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I think they've had at this hotel. I think they've had an experience with a rambunctious party in the past because there's a lot of T's and C's.
Yeah.
I think someone probably trashed it.
We've all got to pay quite a hefty deposit. So I think they've had 18 to 30 style weddings there in the past.
Anyway, we're very excited, but also right now we're going to speak to Bronte Law, the golfer, because if you remember, we spoke to her about the upcoming Solheim Cup, and I don't know if you were watching it, but I watched the last sort of 6 hours or so. It was out of this world. So do we have Bronte on the line now?
Hi.
Hey Bronte, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
We're fantastic, thank you. Congratulations on the victory. It was stupendous viewing.
Thank you. I still can't believe it, to be honest.
I mean, obviously, when you're playing in a situation like that, when it all comes down to the final putt on the final green, in the the penultimate group, do you feel a part of that narrative? Because obviously when you're watching it, the editing and the shots you see are sort of building up this tense finale, but what's it actually like to experience that on the course?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really know what was going on. It was kind of a whirlwind. You don't really have much time to look at the scoreboards, and I wasn't really aware of what was even going on in Suzanne's match, other than that she was all square going up 18 and needed to win that hole. So when my match ended, there was 30 seconds from when my match ended to when Suzanne held the winning putt. So we didn't even have time to move or go up to the 18th. So I had to watch it on the 17th screen TV. So it was all just a bit surreal, and it happened all very fast. And I don't really remember much of what happened after that.
Can I ask a question? When you've been part of a massive victory like this, when does the adrenaline leave your body?
I don't think it has left.
Oh, wow.
Yet. I still feel like it's not real.
When we spoke last week, I discussed with you my inability to get out of bunkers.
Yeah.
And then was it the 16th green, you hit a bunker shot, and a very familiar sight to me to see the ball rolling back to your feet.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But you went on to halve that hole, or went on to win that hole?
Yeah.
So how do you stop your sort of anger at your and frustration at yourself from taking over? Because that would have been me out of that hole. But that was actually a crucial moment when you came back there.
Yeah, it was a weird situation, so I don't know whether they showed it on TV, but actually my play partner that was playing against, both our balls were resting right next to each other in the bunker. So there was this whole fiasco going on as to marking one of the balls. I had to pick mine up, and they had to re-rate the bunker, which made it kind of difficult in the situation. I tried to, focus and play the shot in hand, but told myself, you can't give up. You have to keep fighting until the end, and I did that. So I think it's just really important once you're in that situation and a shot like that happens, is to just erase it immediately from your memory.
That's the difference between you and me. I'm very, very happy to think, time to give up now. I think I should probably give up. That's why I'm not a top-level sportsman.
Thank you so much for joining us, Bronte. Congratulations again, and fingers crossed all the best for 2 years' time as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Cheers.
Bye.
That was Bronte Lord there, who helped secure the Solheim Cup for Europe in quite fantastic circumstances. It was liquid match play golf. So now we're going to read some of your emails in our regular email feature.
Can I get wet?
Attach clip art. Where is it kept? It's a space letter. One email. Send or receive using email. It's causing success if it's working less.
Alright, these drops are only accessible by seaplane. Products loaded up and ready to go when you are.
That's right, guys, it's email time. Thank you for all of your correspondence. You can send it to Ellis and John at bbc.co.uk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Well done.
Thanks, man. We have got some chat on the podcast intro, so if you listen to the show live, do check out the podcast for extra content. And last week in the intro, Dave and Ellis and I spoke about the very sad news that Dave's sister passed away from cancer last week. She's called Vic, and we spoke about that, and we've had some really, really nice messages from people. This is from Joel. He says, I just wanted to say how moving Dave's speech at the top of the show was regarding his sister Vic and how grief affects us all. I work as a doctor on a busy haematology unit, and often our patients are very young, very sick with some terrible cancers. The way in which he spoke about the peaks and troughs of grief and how it isn't one big pot of despair all the time really hit home and rang true with so many things I see and hear day to day. I'm currently on the way to work on Saturday morning, and your words and views I think will really help a lot of families deal with the terrible things they have to experience sometimes. Last week's discussion at the top of the show is a true testament to the vibe you've all created of the previous years in regards to grief, mental health, and talking about one's feelings. Thanks for the amazing show, and as always, Dave, I'm so terribly sorry for your loss.
Very nice, yeah. It was. We got loads of emails like that off the back of last week's podcast intro. So hopefully I kind of struck a chord with people who've gone through something similar. And the point there, which kind of still stands true now a week on, around the whole peaks and troughs, 24/7 whole of hell for those moments do come, but also I think it's reassuring to know that other people have seen that in their moments with it as well, where you can be okay, then you kind of get hit by it a little bit, and the whole thing is very surreal, but thank you to everyone who then emailed off the back of last week's podcast. It was very much appreciated.
Yeah, and we had this from Matt. He said, I'm so sorry to hear about your sister. Mine died back in March, age 38, so after a year battling cancer. This happened, and like you, I shared on social media so people knew what was going on. I found myself in a strange unofficial club in which people who've also been robbed of someone too young will suddenly start sharing stories with you. I found that really overwhelming at first, but over the months, I realised that it's through this talking that people are able to heal. I too now find myself occasionally sharing my story with people, and there's real joy being able to share the best things about her with you folks. I've just hit 6 months since it happened, and the pain and confusion comes and goes. Some days are great, some days are bad. I'm really happy to hear you at work and living life already. It's the best thing to do, and regular things like music, friends, work, football, and whatever else will always help for healing. Thanks very much for that, Matt. That's a fantastic thing to say. And also, you had an event last week, didn't you, involving ice hockey.
Which I do not understand. I don't really understand the rules of ice hockey.
It's great fun though.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I went to watch Cardiff Devils a few times. It's
Yeah.
so high octane.
But there's some football starting to do a bit of that, like the lights going off before the teams come out and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they do that sometimes at the Etihad now for the big Champions League games. I think Arsenal do it as well. Yeah, they kind of dip the floodlights, which like 20 years ago you could do because it took so long to warm back up again.
Yeah.
But now you can do it and they're instantly back on. Ice hockey's done that forever, obviously. But what was really nice was Mark, his husband, played for both Sheffield Steelers and the Manchester Storm over a very illustrious ice hockey career. So it was actually really nice that after the terrible week that we all had, the game, just purely by coincidence in the league, was Steelers versus Storm. So there's a lovely moment at the beginning where, I think it's on the Sheffield Steelers Facebook page, where they did 44 seconds of noise with it, because that's Mark's number, and they all held up pink jerseys, which is for preventing breast cancer, I think, the kind of representation of pink for that. So yeah, I was saying to Hannah, my wife, today, I think we do feel very fortunate that we had that moment, 99 families out of 100 wouldn't have that quite amazing moment where you have 10,000 people in an arena standing up and applauding someone who you love very much. So I think on that side of it, we do consider ourselves extremely fortunate, because almost it was a really nice moment at the end of a terrible week that a lot of families would never have, just because their son-in-law hasn't played for two very big ice hockey teams. So we very much enjoyed it and appreciated it.
Yeah, most of it's very easy.
Yeah.
But, again, it's just an odd quirk of Mark's job that you got the privilege of that kind of thing.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay, folks, so thank you very much for those correspondence, especially the very kind ones addressed to Dave. And do keep your emails coming in to the show here, and not just emails, your Shamewells and your made-up games. And we are going to now continue with the cancer theme.
Oh yeah,
Shamewell. It's not an entire show about cancer, but we thought this Shamewell would be quite fitting. That's the email jingle.
What was I thinking? Why did I say he had nice ankles? She was stood behind me the whole time. I didn't know he's only got one hand. I was signing off at Gmail.
John Shamewell.
Incidentally, before we head too deep into the well, we have had some great correspondence regarding last week's Shamewell, about the awkward incident with a man who didn't have any arms. And we're going to read that email out in the podcast intro, so do download that when it occurs. So this, as ever, is an anonymous story of shame, someone we hope to absolve. Dear Alice and John, I was inspired to write to you because of last week's show, producer Dave saddened me regarding the death of his sister. Firstly, I'd like to pass on my condolences to Dave and his family. I too have lost a loved one to the awful disease that is cancer, and understand what he must be going through. A few years ago, it was due to my experience of losing someone that I felt compelled to send a message of support to a friend that had suffered a similar loss. Now, I firstly have to state that at the time I sent this message, the person in question was only an acquaintance. He was my girlfriend's friend's husband. He and I had only socialised together once, but had some Facebook friends in common. I received news from my partner that his father had suddenly passed away, and decided I'd text him with my condolences. Because I'd lost my own father, I understood the situation and wanted to offer support and advice. Unfortunately, because at the time we were not that close, I didn't have his number, but I remembered that our Facebook friendship would solve the problem and thought I'd send him a message through his direct messaging option. I searched the guy in question's name and hit the blue voice bubble on his page. Due to the cracking surface of my phone, I sometimes have to hit the screen quite hard when typing, and it can take a few seconds to catch up with what I typed. I hit the keyboard option at the bottom of the phone and began typing my heartfelt message. As I expected, it didn't respond, so I hit again and again and again. Eventually, my phone sprang to life. Unfortunately, it had registered and chose to open emojis, selecting the GIF of a waving cat and sending a waving cat to my grieving friend. I stared at the fun feline emoji, and almost instantly a blue tick popped up confirming that the message was received. Oh, I'm going to lose it. And then my friend's profile picture appeared indicating that he'd seen the message. I immediately imagined the amount of words of support he received that morning. An absolute coin he met once had decided to go with an emoji of a sobbing waving cat. A foamy wave of shame washed over me. I then had a brief panic attack. I abruptly stood up from my seat on the busy train, then sat back down and had some more.
After a few moments of rage and fear, I put together a message of apology for the cat emoji, and then closed with my intended condolences. Thankfully, the guy saw the funny side, and had actually messaged back saying it brightened his otherwise dark day. We've since become close friends, and he still teases me about it, but whenever I think of the whole affair, I turn scarlet and want to jump into the nearest reservoir. Please rid me of this shame. Well, there you go. I mean, I probably, if he had that day again, I think he would probably still want the waving cat.
Yeah, I mean, it turned out of me, but I feel tired now.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
At least a waving cat is kind of useful.
Yes. I mean, when you're entering with a booster emotions, it's a real process.
Yeah, you wouldn't want a sort of player's gonna play.
No.
Or an aubergine. Or, I don't know, someone moonwalking.
Yeah, just a lot of dollar signs.
Yeah, that would be good. I think waving cats, I would take that for an inappropriate game.
Well, on social media, it's kind of the go-to thing to cheer people up. You want to see some fluffy cats? That's what everyone says, don't they? Because there's always a cat playing a piano or something.
So there's always a cat playing a piano. Every bar ever.
Well, it's usually the same cat on the same gig, but there almost feels
only
like...
that cat could meditate.
Yes, exactly. It's just cat. I introduced my friend to gigs last night and it was not stopped gifting me.
I don't have ever used it.
Yeah, you need to get a little keyboard with your keyboard.
Well, we did, because we had a gift for our book tour, and both of us tried to post it on Facebook, and kept posting it as a still, and then as a link, and then it ended up going off.
And then, I just had my child's gift back. So yeah, I'm not really into gifts.
We'll get you into gifts.
Yeah, I'm not a big emotion user.
You're not a big emotion user. Cold as stone. Yeah, you're right. Okay, folks, keep your shame wells coming to Ellis and John at bbc.co.uk. But Ellis, what have you been up to this week? Have you? What? Where?
Well,
who?
I mean, he's been a friend of mine for a couple of years.
A good friend?
No, just through baby stuff. But the reason I want to talk, I don't really listen to the show, so the reason I want to discuss it is his use of text messaging. I find quite confronting. I think I want to phase him out of my life for this reason.
How can it, in what way of a text message confronting?
He will say, would you like to watch the Masters game? But there will be between 25 and 30 question marks.
Right.
Which I find quite confronting.
Yeah.
And then if I don't respond within 10 minutes, he will then send a follow-up text of between 25 and 50 question marks, which I find so passive aggressive. And then it makes me feel quite strange because the kind of slightly contrary personality I have, I think if he's going to send me a blank text message apart from 25 to 50 question marks, my initial response is, well, I'm not going to respond, I'm not going to reply. If you're not even talking to me like that, you're going to use exclamation marks and question marks in that way, then
What's he like in person?
I'm actually fine in person, but his text message technique, I find sickening.
So how would he speak to the full? How would you say, do you want to watch the Man City game with 25 question marks out loud?
Do you want to watch the Man City game?
Is what I'm imagining. I would imagine it would be like, do you want to watch the Man City game? I'd imagine it sounding like that.
Well, with that, I would imagine the game would have 58.
Yes.
It's the fact that it's all of the question marks. So I just find very, very passive-aggressive.
Yeah, that would, I think, annoy me to a certain extent.
But it's the follow-up. It's the follow-up of not...
Have you got messages read received on your text?
Yes, I have.
Well, then you are a complete fool.
How do I turn that on?
You go into your message settings, because they'll know when you've seen it.
Right. Well, I wouldn't mind if he was replying... But he knows you've got it. But I wouldn't mind if the follow-up was, don't know if you just saw this a million times, question mark. That's fine. Or
I need to know, do I buy 2 bags of nachos?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's fine.
I'm right in the queue at Tesco. I don't get enough nachos, and then you turn up. It's going to be a car crash. And then I'll only end up eating them. And then it's 10 missed calls. I'll end up eating them all anyway.
Yeah, or if it was just, I'm trying to sort childcare. Is this to go question mark? It's fine. It's the question mark.
How is it when I text you
saying, do you want to meet up and go for a drink? There's no reply. Which is one question mark, and no follow-up. Well, I would say people who shout loudest get heard. That's what I say. Not just in text messages, in the blooming houses of Parliament.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's sort of a petty put-off.
It is, but it actually makes me like him less, even though he's perfectly reasonable. I like him actually, Chris, but his text message technique makes me dread seeing him, because I think that he's going to be like that in real life.
So I have one of my dearest and oldest friends, Sam, and he gets with his lovely wife in the southwest. He has a habit of only calling me when the conditions he is in are completely unsuitable for call.
Oh, yeah.
So he will usually call me in a week. Yeah. When he's walking his dog on the beach, when he's driving, but without a hands-free key, but just sort of on speakerphone in loud traffic, right? Or when he's eating. So I'll answer. I'll go, oh great, it's Sam. I'll answer my phone. The first thing I hear is, all right, okay, it's Sam. Hi, Sam. Yeah. Just walking the dog. I'm out for before. Yeah. Or it's, all right, John. I'll make sense. Call me. Call me when you're back at home. Call me when you're out of the car. But in fairness to him, these are the sort of little pockets in his life where he's got time to sort of catch up with friends.
I can appreciate Sam. Sam's situation has actually been great. I need to talk to John, and there won't be children there to distract him, so I'll do it while I'm on Yorkshire Dales.
Yeah. There's something very funny about just picking up the phone and immediately hearing the sound of wind.
Yeah. I mean, it does make for a great catch-up.
Absolutely. But we absolutely not. I think that means absolutely not.
But we asked for your petty put-offs on the Facebook page, and we've had some absolutely belters. This is from Steve. This is the classic. I would say that this affects people who are slightly younger, maybe our younger demographic. People say lol out loud.
Oh, I actually don't think that is the younger demographic.
No?
I think that's people in their late 20s who haven't quite grown up yet, or trying to sound young. Or, for example, there are a few comedians who will sort of say lols as part of their sets. But the worst one, I know this gets you as well, is when sort of comics in their 30s are talking about sex on stage, but will use quite infantile language.
Oh my gosh.
So they will say, like, doing a sex.
Disgusting. They should be put down. They should be destroyed.
I know this makes sense.
I mean, we're all adults.
Yeah.
We're all adults. It's the idea that you're simplifying. What is an adult situation? Absolutely. Come on.
Sort it out.
Have a think.
This one I really like. This gets me from Dan Johnson. He goes, when people send lots of short
That's
text,
a successful sale.
what they got.
The funds are
And that does
transferring.
my head in. I've got
Long
two
John
friends who
out.
do that. They'll say, how you doing? I'll say, I'm alright, how are you? And suddenly I'll go, ding, ding, ding.
I know
ding.
which friend you're talking about.
I'm okay. Just went to the park with my sister. How are you?
The only time you can justify it is if you can use a smaller follow-up text as a punchline for comedic effect.
Yes. Yeah, that, if you're actually cutting out the beats of a joke, that's fine.
That's all right.
But don't just sort of tell me a story about your day in 15.
Yeah.
It's most annoying when you've got your phone on.
Yes.
Away.
So, in conclusion, it's fine as long as you're an excellent joke technician.
Yes.
On digital, online, on BBC Sounds, in your local vape shop, this is BBC Radio 5 Live. You're listening to Ellis and John Robbins. This is a pre-recorded show because John and I are on the way to Italy for a wedding. So don't text in, although you can tweet using the Ellis John hashtag, because even though we won't read out the tweets today, we will see them and we'll collect them, and if they're of interest, we might read them out next week. Also, you can email on ellis&john@bbc.co.uk. But anyway, before the news, we were discussing our pet put-ons because I had made a new friend. Sounds like an anecdote from a 6-year-old. I've made a new friend, and I find the way he uses text messaging quite confronting. So, for instance, he will text me if I want to go watch the football with 50 question marks. And if I don't reply immediately, he'll send a follow-up text of another 50 question marks. So we asked on our Facebook page for your petty put-offs. And this resonates with me, this is from David. Anything like this in a house or flat, and it's those posters or signs that say things like live well, laugh often, love much, live every moment, laugh every day. I just don't know why you would want that in your house.
I sort of see what you mean. I don't mind a house having a little motto, you know, shoes off, make sure your tax returns on time, chill out. I think it's quite nice if you have kids for those little things to be there, because you can kind of point to the thing on the wall saying, hey, be nice to your sister.
Those mottos, they often glorify strange things, especially coffee
And gin.
And wine. So there'll be. I saw one the other day. It was vote for coffee. This calls for prosecco.
Oh my god. Well, like if greetings cards are to be believed, then women's three main interests are gin, prosecco, and feeling guilty about food.
But it is making these people feel better.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I know. My mum loves those.
Yes.
You go to the Master household, there are those little quotes all over the place.
My vibe is my tribe.
I mean,
Turn that frown upside down.
My vibe is my tribe. Something.
Yeah.
We'll be into vibes or tribes.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's just, especially the coffee ones. As long as you give me a coffee, no one gets hurt. What do you want about? I mean, it's just a drink.
A slightly less cold-hearted one. This is from Chris. He says, if a friend presses the button for a lift which lights up and it doesn't arrive immediately, he will press it several times more rapidly, and I want to end him, even though the button sort of fits. I know. The call has been made. You're not thinking of Ellis, I made a new friend last night.
Oh, did you?
Yes. Football.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you're speaking my language, John. Literally.
So, some of you may know, Ellis, one of the most respected regional football experts in the country.
I've got a BBC podcast, that's James' Feast of Football, where we discuss Welsh football and also Premier League. And to be honest, I am one of the few people who's managed to make football accessible.
Whereas I, you may not know, have never in my life been to a football match.
But interestingly, I think you like football.
Yeah.
You support Liverpool. You watch football on the telly. I've watched football with you. It's crowds that you have a problem with, isn't it?
Yeah, crowds and aggression and public acts of intimidation.
So you've been to the cricket?
Yes.
Okay.
At no point did I feel intimidated. Great. And that's certainly not to say that even the majority of football fans aren't absolutely wonderful. But my experience of football fans on public transport is one that makes me despair for the world.
Oh, okay, it makes you recoil.
Yeah,
you don't like chanting on a tram.
No, but no one likes that.
Okay, we...
But what about the other people on the tram who feel intimidated?
Yeah, but even if I'm not one of the chanters, I don't mind it.
Yeah, but you're... Well, anyway, that's your vibe is your tribe. So anyway, I had a pretty... I was a bit low this week. My confidence taken a sort of battering on several fronts. And I also realised I hadn't really been out of my house. So I sort of texted you because there's anyone up to anything I could do with getting out. And I decided to take up Alex Horn's offer of a trip to Cheshire United versus Hayes and Yed. So I walked there and I met them in the pub beforehand. It was me and the Horn. And I have to say, I loved every single second of it. I think it was like 3:20.
Lovely. I used to watch a lot of Command and Town in what is now becoming Premier in Welsh. And we would get crowds between 250 and 400 each. And you'd always get a windfall between 1 and 3.
Yeah.
And they bring a drum. And it's just watch Croc on his own with a drum, singing to his own people.
Yeah, and also they had a bar there, right by the side of the pitch, with rescue drinks on the little boarding. I think they got promoted about 10 years ago, but couldn't go up because their ground didn't fit certain criteria.
Okay.
Also, that was there in the news because Alex Horn had done a task from the book, which was to get as many people as he came to the ground to watch a game, and it would have broken their attendance by like 1,500. But when they got there, the other chairman of the other team had been told
and wasn't happy about it, and they had to leave because they didn't have like the right stewarding and all that sort of stuff. Even though they would have made money in the bar and everything. So there were lots of people sort of consoling Alex, which is sort of like the local celeb fan.
Yeah.
Sort of saying like the same thing. But that was a wonderful day, it was fantastic. A few observations about football that I saw, Alice.
Okay.
Not many sort of fouls and free kicks, not as many interruptions as you get in the Premier League. Oh, they seem to just get on with it.
And almost no diving.
No, not at all. Yeah, but it was just a really nice cold evening, and I really had a good experience. Two of your three favourite smells. Frying onion, urine, lager, but it wasn't busy or hot enough to get sweated.
Oh.
Because you're actually your four favourite smells are lager, urine, frying onions, and sweat.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't just like the smell of urine at any point. Is it a football?
It's football
urinal.
Yeah. But anyway, I had a thoroughly good evening. It's just what I needed. All the players afterwards, the home players, the Chelsea players, they won 3-2. They're top of the league. They came into the bar and they were all eating those incredibly long hot dogs. So it felt very much like a pre-Wenger-area bar. So they were all slamming down the dogs.
Yeah, when Valentine went to Europe, years ago, we won the Welsh Cup, and we got into Europe, and in the first game, our goalkeeper had an absolutely fantastic match, and he became a slight celebrity, because the game was televised, and his saves made it onto the news. And a sports reporter said, you're now in Scotland, would you like to play at a higher level? And he said, not really, because I love covered.
So anyway, hopefully I'm going to carry on my my love of football now. I'm a big football guy now, but I think I'm going to stay in the very lower leagues.
I think it's Cheshire United.
There's a lot of space to walk around. There was nothing but sort of pleasant banter. There was no sort of unnecessary swearing. There was the odd F and Jeff. We would never at someone.
You could also use the players.
Yes.
Were there any away fans?
Yeah, there were probably maybe 40 or 50 away fans. Oh, that's quite good. Hayes and but yeah, I think it's my team.
Yes.
But I think I'm going to just go sort of confidence below.
This is very special.
Okay, folks, before this week's made-up game, it's time for the Weirdness Amnesty. I don't mind it, mate. So, this is the part of the show. It stops to start. It's a very stop-start bit. Anything that you admit to doing while this slightly jaunty, odd bed plays is no longer weird during the Weirdness Amnesty. We started up last week. We're going to continue it. It's important for people to have a little safe space in the week where they can just be as normal as pie with whatever things they're doing.
Well, people are diverse, aren't they? Not wrong.
And so we are celebrating people like this. Yeah, this is sort of diversity of habits and little sort of brain items. So we're going to start this week with two callers on the line who have very normal habits. The first one is Francis. Hello, Francis.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
And where are you calling from?
Bolton.
Alice, give me a fact about Bolton. My brother-in-law's from there. Lovely.
We know.
Oh, great. Do you know him?
No.
Oh, that's all right.
Every time anyone mentions Bolton.
Yes, I do. Sorry.
Oh, that's not good. That fact before was the second fact about Bolton.
The Bolton Wanderers were founded at
Lovely stuff. So, Francis, explain to us your Weirdness Amnesty weirdness.
In my head, the numbers 1 to 10 all have quite distinct personalities.
Right. When did this start?
It must have started when I was a kid. I think perhaps I saw a TV programme that had the numbers with like animation, and I've kind of gone with it since, and the personalities have developed ever since.
So I guess that's quite common in kids because a lot of, say, for example, Mr. Man, there's a lot of shapes involved.
Yeah,
with different personas. So could you talk us through some of the numbers that have personalities in general?
Yeah, well, the strongest personalities are the numbers 8 and 9. I kind of see them as sisters, yeah. 8's quite overbearing, quite bossy, probably like interfering in business. Whereas the number 9's a bit that she's kinder. She's sort of the kind of person I want to be. So kind. Yeah.
How does this affect your life? If I were to tell you I made some cakes yesterday and there are 8 left, what happens then in your mind?
I'd still eat the cake. I wouldn't have an issue with the association with the number 8. It's just upsetting.
What's number 1 like?
Quite young, not a very well-formed personality as of yet. Obviously, sort of being the baby of the family.
Yeah.
But quite cute, quite endearing. Everyone's little favourite.
Are you adding to numbers' personalities as you're getting older, or are they fairly set?
Oh, the fairly set. It's been set probably since I was a bit of 7.
Since you were 7, so what's 7?
7 is, he's quite a people pleaser.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, he kind of likes to keep the peace.
And that, I believe, is everything sold.
Number 6. What's 6?
6, she's quite sweet. She's quite, again, she's another people pleaser, but in a bit more of a sort of kind and nice way. She's quite similar to 9 in personality.
My birthday's on the 3rd, Francis.
We should have just gone 1 to 3.
I know, we should. What's 3 like?
3's really cute.
Oh, that's
Absolutely delighted.
Thank you so much for joining us, Francis. For the remainder of the Weirdest Embassy, there's nothing unusual about that whatsoever. Our next caller is Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
Hi, man. Where are you calling from?
Just from Norwich.
Alex, give me a fact.
Delia Smith lives there.
Oh, that's not good enough.
Oh, right, okay. No, sorry, the fact is actually incorrect.
Okay. So, Alex, what's your non-weird thing?
Sometimes when I listen to music, my brain likes to add the words "yes sir" to the end of random song lyrics.
Right. Can you give me an example?
Yep. I can give you a Queen example.
Yes, please.
Okay. We will rock you. Yes sirree.
Okay. I mean, I'm backing Taylor May and Mercury and Deacon's construction of the song. I'm backing their lyrics. I'm not sure it's going to get on any of the releases, but I don't mind it particularly. Any other tracks?
How about a bit of Blur?
Oh yes, please. Big fan of Blur and Ellis.
All the people, so many people, and they all go hand in hand through their park life. Yes, sir.
I have to say, Alex, it doesn't really scan.
I'm not saying it's a good thing.
Right.
My brain just does it.
Imagine Damon Albarn throwing that in at the end.
Maybe Damon's listening. Maybe he's a big fan of Five Live. And he's thinking, right, well, I should start doing that. Thank you very much, Alex.
Yeah, not at all weird, mate, until in about 30 seconds' time when it's going to become incredibly weird. But thanks so much for calling, guys.
And I feel I really do have to say this. If you want to fact about Norwich is with milk and it makes me
Okay.
And mustard, didn't they invent Coleman's mustard?
Karen Coleman's mustard. There we go.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you much. We're going to have another Weirdness Amnesty next week. The things you do are now back to being weird again. But it's time for a made-up game. Games.
Okay, it's time to play a made-up game, and this week's made-up game has been sent in by Mike and Sally. Hi, legends. In the midst of an ale-filled discussion on midsummer murders in a Manchester pub, post Old Trafford Ashes testing for, a simple game emerged. I present Eskimos. Players take turns in estimating the number of episodes of specific TV shows, the closest guesser gaining a point for each show. That's it. Nothing fancy, but harder than you'd think. Who knew? There were 65 episodes of Kenan and Kel. Enjoy. Sorry, I've not seen that programme, which suggests I'm going to be very, very bad at this programme.
I like the
This
name.
named game.
Estimodes.
Yes, I like the game as well. I like the name as well. Anyway, enjoy. Good luck, Ellis, Mike, and Sally. Should I win?
It just says good luck, Ellis. I think you meant like good luck, Ellis.
Yeah, there's a smiley face. Yeah. Should I win, in the unlikely event of me being victorious, I will be playing Sparky Street by Teenage Fan Club. John, what's your choice if you win this week?
I'll be playing Hold On by Nico Case.
Righto, so let's have a coin toss to see who gets to go first.
Oh, I've got one. Heads or tails?
Tails for Wales, Cynffon i Gymru.
It's Queens for Queen.
Okay.
I would like Ellis to go first, please.
Yes.
Smart move. Right, Ellis. TV show number 1. Frasier.
120.
120 for Ellis. John. I've gotta say